What's going on, everybody? Timeister here. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Welcome back to Oxbourg. And today's episode is going to feature almost a whole hour of time-lapse detailing. But not only that, I'm going to be embarking on one of the city's biggest urban renewal projects as well in this episode, which I'll talk about in just a minute. Following the announcement of the delay of the Bridges and Ports DLC, I figured, well, I can't really touch the coastline for quite some time now, might as well work on more inland things. And one of the things that I've been wanting to take care of for a little bit of time now is detailing downtown, because a lot of it was just kind of zoned into place and it looks a little bland. There's a lot of empty green spaces between a lot of these buildings where, you know, there should be back alleyway pavement and things like that. So that is why I figured might as well just spend the time right now to detail downtown. And I figured might as well just make a whole episode on this because it's something that needed to be done, and I know how much some of you guys really enjoy the time-lapse detailing. You know, some of you just like what I think is boring sometimes. So, you know, there's something out there for everybody, right? So I'm going to start things off over here just near downtown by plopping this signature building, which I forget the name of, but you know, it's one of the classic just default vanilla buildings, and I'm just going to modify it a little bit and improve it with some really great textures that can be found on the Paradox mods. So along with a lot of placing of textures in this episode, there's going to be a lot of placing of props as well. Now, I'm not going to be going too crazy with the detailing, right? There's so many little back alleyways in downtown and so many little nooks and crannies. I could spend weeks just placing down dumpsters, placing down decals, graffiti, all this kind of stuff. I don't really want to do that because it's these small details that I can't really showcase episode after episode. And if I were to, you know, make this map available right now, you know, unless you guys go digging into all the nooks and crannies, you're probably not going to be snooping around for minute details. So I'm going to be kind of like medium detailing this entire city with, I don't know, maybe a few builds here and there. I'll be like detailing really finely. But for this case here, at least in this episode, I'm just going to be kind of glossing over the entirety of downtown, adding pavement in behind a lot of these buildings, adding some trees, adding, you know, better textures just like I've just done here, adding props. I'm also going to spend some time this episode adding some urban green spaces as well. Some of you have requested that kind of stuff in the comments, so I'll make sure to plop some nice parks in and around downtown. But let's take a minute now to talk about that urban renewal project I mentioned. There's a lot of empty space right now in downtown, and I've been struggling for the last little while trying to figure out what do I build. And after a lot of internal deliberation, it struck me, why not build a classic North American 1950s, 60s, 70s style urban renewal project where a historic part of town would have been completely wiped off the face of the earth to make room for some new infrastructure, such as this beautiful interchange that we see on your screen right now, as well as the convention center that we plopped a number of episodes ago. So that's what we're going to be doing here today. I'm going to redevelop this whole area into kind of a mid-century modern urban renewal space, featuring a ton of different things, which we'll get into. But we're going to start things off with this convention center. So this big boxy building that I'm moving around right now, this is actually a signature building that is a shopping mall, I believe, but I've just been pretending it's an old sort of convention center maybe. And along with moving around this building, we're gonna redo the road layout in this whole area because it didn't really make sense to begin with and I didn't really like it, so I'm just redoing the whole thing. And quite coincidentally, this large tower here that is a part of the main train station blends in beautifully with the convention center. It follows kind of that same brutalist theme. It's very gray, it looks very Soviet. So I'm gonna combine these two buildings. And this tower, by the way, is an upgrade for the train station. but I'm going to be combining these two buildings to make them both part of the convention center. Maybe we can assume this tower is partially a hotel or something, but I just think it looks really cool. We're going to be plopping a lot of new buildings today, and following plopping these buildings is when I'm going to detail the grounds surrounding them. Such as, in this case, we plopped this whole new convention center / hotel setup. Now I'm going to spend a few minutes detailing the landscape around them. So I'm going to add some nice, beautiful pavement textures. You know, this would be a very open plaza. Of course, along with almost any convention center, you usually have a big pavilion on the front. You know, it's very imposing, very grand, and this is no exception here in the Oxbourg Convention Center. Now, as you can see, I built this little drop-off area in front of the convention center, and here I am placing some taxi stands, which unfortunately don't really work when being placed on the left side of the road, so unfortunately I just have to scooch them over to the right. But speaking of public transit, this episode we're not going to get into any of that, of course. This is totally focused on detailing. I think the next episode we'll get into public transit because a lot of you have been requesting it, and I think the city has grown to a size now where we could really start to benefit from some public transit because traffic is getting pretty abysmal in some parts of downtown. We're up to 65,000 people already. I just can't believe how fast the city is growing, but I guess when you're manually plopping huge skyscrapers, it doesn't take very long for a massive city to develop. So yeah, we're going to be spending some time building some public transit, probably in the next episode, and that means buses. I'd like to build a fully functional subway system as well. I want to get some trains going as well. You know, we have this beautiful main train station right in the middle of the city. Might as well use it, right? Because we're paying a lot of money to have this around. So don't worry, whoever suggested public transit, which is a lot of you, we're going to be getting into that very shortly. But for now, we're just going to have to detail downtown. And we're pretty much going to be completing downtown in its entirety, at least whatever is on the main island. I can safely say that it'll be complete to 100% after this episode. But can I really say 100%? Because it's a living, breathing thing. This city is, right? Like I said, we're gonna have to plop down some subway stations, we're gonna have to plop some bus stations, things like that, and we're gonna have to try to cram those things in an already super dense environment. So it's never gonna be done to 100%, but at least the detailing side of things will be totally complete. So essentially my method here for detailing, having pretty much completed the convention center now, I'm going to be moving block by block. There's a lot of city blocks in downtown, and the best way to go about this is basically just to go block by block. And most of the footage that you're going to see in this episode has actually made it right to the final cut. I'm accelerating the footage, all of the footage that you're going to see today, to 250%. So what you're seeing here is 250 times faster than reality. And having condensed everything down, it makes for an episode of just about an hour. So I was kind of astounded that I was able to cram that much stuff in a 1 hour chunk of time. But anyways, yeah, we're just gonna work our way down to the coast. That's essentially what I'm doing here, all of these individual blocks. And we're gonna get into some more urban renewalness. You know, we're not done. It wasn't just this modern brutalist plaza convention center. No, we're far from done with this whole construction thing. We got some more really cool things coming this episode amongst all of the detailing that's gonna happen. This next part is going to tie into that whole urban renewal project. So I've got this big empty space here, and I struggled for a long time to figure out what am I ever going to build over here. And I figured, why not make this a part of the logistics of the city by placing this huge bus station. So in one of the first episodes, just outside of Old Town, we built a little tiny bus station. I think there's like 3 stalls or something. That is going to be kind of like a regional hub. But this big station, this is going to be Grand Central Bus Station, essentially. With it being adjacent to the train station, I thought it was a perfect location for this. a lot of major train stations all around the world feature these large bus terminals because, you know, trains come from all different kinds of regions, and then passengers are able to simply get off the train, embark on a bus for that final mile, so to speak. So with a little bit of reconfiguration on this honestly underused interchange, I was able to cram this huge bus station in the middle of it all. And with some road trickery here, I'm going to build kind of a little bit of an overpass. So again, we're going to be building something similar to the BQE here, where we have like a partial bridge over another segment of road. And this is going to connect up the bus station to this major arterial road. So I think this looks really cool. I looked at the traffic data for this interchange. There really wasn't that many cars. There really wasn't that much traffic using this whole interchange. So I didn't mind removing an off-ramp. Basically, we're just losing the loop that was part of this interchange. So it'll be totally fine. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this new bus station addition to the city. I think it looks really awesome, and once we get into the public transit side of things in a future episode, we'll certainly make good use of this bus station. Moving on now, we have another empty space that I've been kind of struggling to figure out what am I going to build here. And a lot of these places where I struggle to figure out what to build is because of accessibility issues. Like, take this corner, for example. There is really only one frontage road that makes sense, but it would be kind of weird to have a skyscraper here because it's not really central to anything, right? I mean, pedestrians would have to walk like half a mile to get to the nearest restaurant, and it just really isn't suitable for like a massive office building, for example. So, after a lot of menu scrounging, I found this British police station that looks kind of like, you know, an older style, just generic office building, you know, maybe some sort of government office. And, well, I mean, it technically is a government office, I suppose, if it's a police station, right? But I just thought it kind of fit very well into this space here, just kind of tucked under some of the rail lines that are passing under here, and followed by just a filler parking lot to make it all work. And now, moving on, I'm going to spend the next few minutes detailing this mini coastline here following the canal around downtown. I'm really not going to add too much detailing to this space. It's pretty much just going to be some green space with some walking trails, that kind of stuff. Just going to keep it simple. But, you know, as simple as it is, it's going to look very beautiful, I think. All right, and this is the part of this video where things are going to get really, really interesting. Now, as I normally do, I get carried away when I do these detailing builds, and I just put some tunes on and the creative juices just start flowing, and I get these crazy ideas. So a few of you have mentioned in the past saying you're missing a big church in the French Old Town. Of course there has to be a church in the Old Town. And I figured, you know what? That's 100% true. We got to plop a church. Now, unfortunately, in City Skylines, there's like 2 or 3 churches in the game, and they're all massive. So why not just place the biggest one, which is the Notre Dame? We have it as a signature building, may as well use it to attract millions of tourists to Oxbourg. So I can't place it in Old Town because, there's not really enough room, as you can clearly see. So the next best thing is to place it just outside of Old Town along the coastline of the city. So this is smack dab in the middle of downtown, and there's no better location than to place the Notre Dame than right here, right by the water, right next to Old Town, an absolute behemoth of a cathedral. It's a perfect spot. So with a little bit of reconfiguration, I had to destroy a few city blocks, but there wasn't really anything too important here. So I just plopped down the church, did a little bit of landscaping, built some new roads, and voila, that's what we have. A beautiful new tourist attraction to bring millions and millions of visitors to the city. I suspect this building is probably going to attract a lot of newcomers to the city, which will in turn be really good for the economy. So we'll just have to see. I didn't really check on my finances too much in this episode. I was just completely focused on detailing, and it was kind of funny because at the time I wasn't really taking any consideration to my finances, and I think just the Notre Dame was like 14 million or something crazy like that. I like halved what I had in the bank before plopping that building. I didn't even realize it. Yeah, so there, you just see me briefly bring up my economy screen. I think I was like, oh crap, like I'm sure that building was really expensive, but I'm still surviving. We're still making money, so no worries there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy this new addition to this city as well, guys. I think it blends in perfectly with Old Town. We have the French high school, I believe it is, right beside this building. It looks very official, looks almost like some sort of government building. So overall, I'm really, really impressed. I'm pleased with how this area is developing. And now we're going to work on a little bit of landscaping. Of course, we have to build some beautiful plazas and stuff, with this being a French-inspired Old Town. And you must have been thinking I was done with the massive construction projects. You know, we already went through 2 of them in this episode. What more can I build? Well, I'm here to inform you that we're not done yet, guys. We're just getting started. We're gonna hop on over now to the 3rd major infrastructure project of this episode, which is the CN Tower. Now, I've had this planned for quite some time. One day I logged into the game and I was kind of like playing around with different buildings, seeing what could fit perfectly within this footprint in this little piece of land here. And it just so happens, with a little bit of luck, the CN Tower fit perfectly here. This has been planned for quite some time, and I figured this is the perfect episode to build this out. So here is the CN Tower in all its glory, just on the outside of downtown, just not too far from the Notre Dame, which we've just plopped. And again, this is going to be one of the major tourist attractions to the city. So I'm hoping that this building is going to pay for itself, because it costs, I think it was like $3 million. So again, pretty expensive. But hopefully it's going to attract a ton of tourists to the city that are going to contribute to the economy. And it's certainly going to be one of the biggest tourist attractions, and is one of the most iconic buildings in the city, as you'll see a little later in this episode once we get into the cinematics. So I'll tell you guys right now, stay tuned to the very end of this episode if you want to see some beautiful cinematics of all the crazy things we've built this episode. But this is going to be the last big piece of infrastructure this episode, guys. After this, it's pretty much going to be detailing all the way. But for one episode, this is already quite a bit. Now, surrounding the CN Tower, we're going to switch things from New York to Toronto. You know, I've been kind of building things in a more New York kind of style for the last few episodes, but we're going to switch things over to a Toronto style of neighborhood, where surrounding the CN Tower will be a ton of really fancy new condo buildings. These types of condo buildings are popping up left and right in Toronto. It's crazy. There's new ones being built every single day. It's just that the boom is absolutely crazy in Toronto. So I want to kind of give off that same vibe here near the CN Tower. So I'm looking for all of the more modern looking buildings that are available in the game right now. So a lot of the skyscrapers in the China pack have this sort of theme. A lot of the high density residential European buildings kind of look more modern in my opinion. So I'm making use of a few of those buildings too. You know, there's not a huge library of ultra modern glass skyscrapers in City Skylines like at all, which is kind of weird because that's all you're seeing being built in real life, it seems. Just these big glass monoliths in pretty much every city across the world, but there's none in City Skylines. So, like I was saying, I was basically trying to choose the buildings that resemble those big glass monoliths as much as possible. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of luxury condos, apartment buildings near the CN Tower. Of course, everybody wants that iconic view of the tower. And surrounding all of that, we're going to build some more green space, some more parks filled with trees and things to do. So overall, this is going to be a very beautiful, expensive, but beautiful neighborhood. And at this point, I can comfortably tell you that's it. No more big infrastructure projects. The remainder of this episode is going to be solely focused on detailing. I will, however, be plopping a few green spaces and parks throughout the remainder of this episode, as well as some smaller apartment and commercial buildings throughout downtown, just to fill in some gaps and, build out some areas where I think are lacking in certain services, but nothing of the likes of what we've built so far this episode. Now I'll stop talking over the next few minutes and I'll let you guys enjoy some chill tunes as I detail away. And as we approach the final couple of minutes in this episode, I just want to mention that this park is one of my favorite things that I've built this episode. Yes, this little insignificant park is one of my favorite builds this episode, just because I'm so satisfied with how it fits into downtown. We have this beautiful central square here, and again, with another stroke of luck, I don't know what's going on, but I seem to get lucky all the time with fitting parks and buildings within tight constraints, and it just so happens they just fit in. So again, this is exactly the case with this beautiful park here right in downtown. And this is kind of like a mini central park, but not really, because there's a big central park planned. Spoiler alert. But I don't know, I just really like this little park right smack dab in the middle of the city. And as we approach the last few minutes of this episode, I'm going to jump into live play and we're going to gloss over what we've built this episode. But not before I showcase just this little segment here. Now, this was totally blank. Like, this whole block here was totally empty, and I somehow lost the footage of me detailing and building up this place. There's not much to it. I basically just zoned in a bunch of commercial, plopped a few parking lots, and made somewhat of like an old industrious area. And as we zoom out from everything, it'll give you a chance to see all that we've built this episode, with the empty space that I need your help with being over here in this corner relative to downtown. And here we can also see the Notre Dame up here, the CN Tower over in this corner, as well as the big brutalist train slash bus slash convention slash office building hotel complex. That was a handful. But this is it, guys. This is the entirety of downtown. It is pretty much complete for now. Like I said, it's going to be an evolving part of the city. The coastline is certainly going to change, but until we get bridges and ports, we're not going to be able to do much over here. So I've plopped a few trees just to beautify it a little bit. And that means we're just going to have to spend some time building up the interior of the city. So guys, now comes the epic cinematics, but before then, I would just like to thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. First of all, for what you think I should build in this empty space, and also any feedback concerning the rest of the city. If you like what you've seen this episode, or if there's anything I can improve on, let me know down in the comments. And if you'd like to support the channel further, there's always my Patreon, and I also have spun up a YouTube membership program if you want to get early access to my videos for the low price of $2.99 USD per month. So guys, thanks once again for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care.